Welcome back to Company Growth Partner. I'm Jason, digital marketer, branding expert in Los Angeles.
And I'm Matt Borka, entrepreneur, media buyer, and revenue operations specialist, signing in from Bangkok, Thailand.
Hey, how are all of you fine folks out there doing today? We would like to discuss in this video why we feel that European entrepreneurs are flocking to American coaches and consultants right now. There's a very real trend happening. To all of you American coaches putting content out, you have a European audience. They're hungry for what you're putting out. So we want to talk a little bit about why that might be, yeah?
Yeah. So what I noticed being in a couple of coaching programs myself is that there's a bunch of Europeans here. And I'm like, wait a second. There's barely any Americans on this call. What the fuck? Like, guy from the Netherlands, girl from Barbados, like 50% international, 50% American. And I'm like, why? But this whole thing, coaching itself, like the way it's done, the way we know it in the direct response space, like that's typically a very American thing, right?
Oh, that's
Because
interesting.
of the price point, I would say a couple of years ago, you didn't really see that many people from Europe investing in high ticket coaching. And it is happening big time. In The Economist, there was an article about how American businesses in general, regardless of industry, are twice as profitable as European counterparts. And I'm like, okay, so why is that? Well, the article argues that there's lack of innovation. And then in the same edition, a person called Mario Draghi, who is the former prime minister of Italy, came out with a report and said, well, Europe, we kind of got to get our shit together because the geopolitical atmosphere is changing rapidly, and the European entrepreneurial space is really lacking innovation. Not only that, there's lack of capital. So if you want to start a business, crazy fact, if you live in Austria, you need to have a master's degree to start the business.
Wow.
This is a law. It's illegal to start a business if you don't have a master's degree.
Wow.
Well, guess what, Jason? I don't have a master's degree, so I can't really start a business in Austria, I guess. Well, that's too bad because, we made a couple of millions for people, here and there, that sort of thing. So that's probably not needed, but that's fine. There's a lot of regulations and restrictions, and people who are looking to start businesses in Europe, like they don't really have anywhere to go. There aren't really like reasonable voices out there in Europe. And a lot of people who are doing well are actually copying American entrepreneurs. Like, I know a Hungarian guy, he's literally doing like almost like word for word what American coaches are doing. Literally, like I'm not even kidding. It's like copy and paste.
You said that coaching as you know it in the direct response space is a pretty quintessentially American thing.
Yes.
Interesting.
But in recent years, European companies or entrepreneurs started copying that and started implementing some of those practices in their local area. So you get like Italian coaches now, and it's more prominent. But then the idea, right? Because they're targeting consumers, right? But the idea of how to run the business and how to operate, that sort of thing, that all comes from the States. Because Europe has been seriously lacking innovation, and like I'm originally from Europe, and the big issue is that there's like this level of complacency where the standard of living has been relatively high for so long, especially prior to COVID, and people were very comfortable, and every generation was kind of like, "No, I'm good," right? But then, "No, I'm good." Like that's not really working. And you can say whatever you want about the US if you're from Europe, but the idea is you need capital to start a business and you need good ideas to start a business. And for like, I'd say the average European, they don't have the same mindset as an American. Like the reason why I talk the way I talk, because the people I look up to talk like this.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one for me to look up to in Europe. Ooh, I said it. Shit. Well, the data really showcases that that's the case. No one's innovating, no one's pioneering anything. That's what a lot of Europeans are trying to pick up. So if you have a coaching business, you cannot really disregard Europe anymore because there's a starving crowd. Yes, They might not be completely ready to spend thousands of dollars right up front. But if you have anything low ticket or you have like some type of an essential model, if you showcase your value, it's going to be very easy to break into a new market where people are starving for information. Like I'm saying starving, like I'm ready to fucking go and do this, but I just need someone to help me understand what's happening. So you're actually going to miss out on a lot when, everyone feels, the pinch in Europe, like cost of living has risen quite substantially. And now people are like, okay, cool, we need new ideas, but nothing's coming.
Mm.
So a lot of business owners or entrepreneurs in the early stages are flocking to American coaches because, I mean, that's the only option.
And it's interesting that at the same time that this is happening, you pointed this out as we were getting ready to talk about this, that there are titans in the coaching space, coaches who are absolutely ignoring European audiences. Like they're not targeting them. They're not building content for European audiences when, to your point, there's a whole just slew of European people who would love to consume your content.
This is where it gets like really interesting. The entire content creation space revolves around this. If the content is produced in English and if the person is from the United States, living in the United States, whatever, or if it's for a primarily American audience, Europeans will still watch it. Your target audience will still watch it because even if they don't do business in the United States, at least they want to understand how Americans are doing it. So they are going to, but then to your point, if you have the resources and the capital and you want to expand and you want to go like global, like you cannot really ignore the European market anymore. Things have caught up enough where things are bad enough now that a certain segment of people are actively looking to, like do something different. One of the biggest things that's happening in Europe is, okay, people are leaving college and like they graduate and then, well, these things are not really applicable anymore. Where like the entire curriculum is completely outdated. Yes, that's true in the US as well. But then you go and you kind of like, move to like a bigger city or, you get a good job and, things kind of start happening and, you might end up like doing something like completely different from like what you have to, like that's very common everywhere. But then the economic opportunities are not really there in Europe. Therefore, there's like this clusterfuck of, it's kind of like a maelstrom where it's like, okay, cool, we need new businesses, we need new ideas, but we're not willing to invest in education. We're not willing to, because like here's the thing, coaching is alternative education, and Americans are more than happy to go, I'm going to pay for that because they know the value.
Mm-hmm.
Now Europeans start to understand, well, fuck, like I'm struggling here. I don't know how to run this shit. And I need to go where, where the best information is. And currently in the coaching world, that's, predominantly it's still US based. So
I like it. I think it's interesting to say to these coaches, these business owners, not only can you be marketing yourself to European audiences, they're hungry for you right now, but also you're offering a solution to the problem that they might run into with those conversations with European possible customers about cost. You're saying there's a chance that European audiences won't be as ready to pay thousands of dollars for digital coaching like some Americans might be. So if you are a coach and if you're looking to reach out to these audiences, you can find ways to offer low ticket entry and then demonstrate
100%.
your value to these people.
Yeah, exactly. What I noticed as someone growing up in Europe, like there's like this skepticism and our way is better type attitude where, well, no. Americans don't know anything. And there's like this, sometimes there's an anti-American sentiment. And, I lived in a couple of European countries and I was like, no, we know better. We know more. No. Like we've been around long enough. The thing is, like that was going on long enough to the point where things are kind of going down economically speaking. So there's a certain subsegment of countries and demographics who are Americanized enough and educated enough to understand that they need the coaching. So, and they are willing to pay for that coaching if you are putting an offer together for them that is currently suitable for European markets.
And you can do that. I mean, don't just focus on the US. If you're a coach, if you're a consultant, and if you're marketing yourself, you can absolutely be marketing yourself to European audiences. And we feel there's huge untapped potential there.
Absolutely. One thing I would say though, if you're just starting out, you want to have your capital in place to go there, because if you're looking to build like low ticket and stuff like that, you need capital to build that out. And if you don't have the capital, then you kind of have to like start with like higher ticket at first, kind of like build up the capital in order to get to a point where, okay, cool, like I have, let's say my US base like pretty like dialed in, but I'm actually looking to scale more and I'm looking for new markets. And I don't really know if I were to go outside of the United States, like where to go next. And I feel like Europe, it's in that weird space where, okay, cool, like now we're hungry enough for change that actually we're willing to invest.
We've got all kinds of advice for coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs who are marketing themselves and their services. I like the idea of talking to them about the opportunities around globalization. I think we are now living in an increasingly global world, and Company Growth Partners very interested in that type of business anyway. And so we think it's a useful point to bring up to any coach or consultant that there are European entrepreneurs flocking to consume your content right now. So there is absolutely an opportunity there.
Yes, and the big difference is previously they were only flocking to watch the content, but now they're willing to pay because Europe finally caught up, right? Where it's like, okay, cool, like I need to invest in this shit because I'm like new, like I want to make money because I'm seeing these like go-getter Americans like making 5-6 figures online. And I mean, again, like depending on like what people do, but like I mean that's the reality of the situation in Europe. Like, you know, if people have savings, they are going to be willing to invest if they see the value in you. So that's the play.
Absolutely, that's the play. We hope that you're enjoying these types of conversations around possible pieces of advice. These are just suggestions we're offering to these coaches and consultants out there. If you're looking to diversify your audience, we think the Europeans have a shot at that for sure. And if you enjoy this content, we ask that you like this video, maybe that you subscribe to us.
Share. Subscribe.
Yeah, share this video. And if you know some coaches and consultants, yeah, let us know what you think. Give us a comment. We'd love to know if you think that there's an opportunity with European markets. And stay tuned for more. We've got more coming your way.
Absolutely.